Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HackFS Filecoin workshop, Making Data Useful with Decentralized Compute. Joining us today is Ally Haire, who will be taking us through this session. And with that, I'll pass it over to Ally to get the session started.
Alrighty, thank you so much, and thank you for having me as well. Hello, HackFS. I'm really excited to be back and champion decentralized data again this year at HackFS, and also meeting with all the awesome folks building in this community. So I did a workshop last year, and I was just saying behind the scenes, like how amazing it is, just how much data, how much content is available through the ETH global channels. And I can't imagine how many startups have been built out of some of the hacks that have been facilitated by ETH global. So big clap to them as well. But anyway, I'm Ally. I'm a developer relations engineer here at the Filecoin Foundation. And I wanted to chat today about our vision at Protocol Labs and Filecoin for a truly open and democratic internet and web, which you probably heard a lot of, but also why we're building out some of the foundational tooling to enable that, and where we're going with tooling for a decentralized, trustless, and kind of open compute networks, which will help make data really useful in the Filecoin ecosystem, as well as kind of usher in the ability to build more internet scale, truly decentralized apps, which will kind of help maybe onboard the next billion people as well. So firstly, though, a reminder on why we're doing this. I always like to start off with this quote from Juan because I really like it. And to me, it really encapsulates his vision and mission and what both Protocol Labs and the Filecoin Foundation are aiming to achieve. So the access that we have to data, as well as kind of the restraints that we have on using it, which depend on our geography, our country and censorships, or our resources or level of access to the internet, are incredibly kind of important parts of what really defines our modern day human rights. And it's also, and it's only getting more pressing with the advent of things like ChatGPT and AI, in my opinion. But anyway, this is also one of the reasons I went into tech originally, because it's of just how fundamentally this innovation and technological advancement can change and improve our lives as well. And really, we have a look back even just 100 years, we can see plenty of evidence of that. So advances in healthcare, inventions like the sewing machine, washing machine, and printing press, and then even onto the more modern era of computers, the internet and mobile phones. And in my lifetime, I've seen that, so you can probably guess my age from that. But these things have really drastically improved the lives of millions, and they've paved the way for some major social changes, and also a rethinking of the value and role of people in society as well, I would say, which is another societal challenge for us. But while tech creates some amazing new frontiers for us, and including and especially now with AI and ChatGPT rising into the mainstream and disrupting things as well, it's incredibly important that we're kind of making sure that this tech infrastructure we're building enables and even enforces the values that we need in it, that of fairness, trustlessness, and openness we need from our tech, and that this tech underpins the real goal for tech and scientific breakthroughs, which is, to me, that of improving the human condition. Anyway, I will get off my soapbox, but this is really some of the motivation behind why I work at Protocol Labs and behind what we're trying to achieve here at Protocol Labs and Filecoin. So as we all know, data is really essential to our daily lives, but a majority of our data is kind of held in these centralized monopolies in the Web 2 world. And this leads to like some really big engineering and social issues. So much like the DeFi movement is aiming to democratize the financial industry and inject more trust and confidence into that, our Filecoin is aiming to democratize this data economy and the internet by building out these purpose-built internet scale distributed network for data. So, you know, back at the launch of Filecoin, this data storage blockchain in 2020, this was the first pillar of decentralizing this data infrastructure. And we've done that, and we're providing a robust and scalable market-driven network for this decentralized storage. As you'd already, of course, know, probably, we've since recently launched FVM, the EVM compatible layer 1 for Filecoin. And this has like opened up the bag a lot in opened up the data economy anyway, enabling smart contract functionality, bringing new capabilities like auto renewal of Filecoin deal making, enabling tokenization of data sets, which is a big one for me, and kicking off the really exciting possibility for data DAOs, as well as, of course, enabling some like specific DeFi use cases for lending and staking of Filecoin in the Filecoin network, and like many, many more use cases. And some that I don't even know about yet, which is exciting too. So what's also really exciting for me is that in parallel, we're also now working on bringing computation over data to Filecoin with things like the Bacalhau project. So this is bringing the ability to really run complex and robust computations over all the useful data stored on Filecoin or IPFS already, and this is where we can really start to see some of those web scale apps emerge that I mentioned earlier, especially those that require kind of a massive amount of data processing in the background. And yes, that does include things like AI and ML processing. So if we think about some of the data stored on the Filecoin ecosystem, though, you can kind of get an idea of how expansive all these pieces together could be, and how being able to make use of this data in complex and collaborative ways would be amazing. So maybe things like analysis on climate data action or collaborative academic research. We're starting to create an open education library with Harvard, or things like being able to run computation on large sets of public government data or city data. And expanding on this, also thinking about creating more open and community-owned models for AI and ML. So things like decentralized AI and ML training and collaboration. And also, by the way, check out the work done by the Filecoin Foundation for the Decentralized Web, who are leading a lot of these initiatives that are shown on this slide. They're a really inspiring bunch over there. So anyway, how do we go about all this? Let's dive into the actual technicals behind the compute over data network and how you would build on it. So Bacalhau is a peer-to-peer open computation network, which you might have kind of guessed from some of my ramblings already. So it's a network of nodes which provides this platform for public, transparent, and optionally verifiable computation. So fun fact, the name actually comes from the abbreviation of compute over data, COD, which is kind of Portuguese, which the Portuguese of is Bacalhau, or a version of. So Bacalhau was originally conceived to bring useful compute resources to data stored on the IPFS and Filecoin network. So it enables you to run arbitrary Docker containers or WebAssembly images as tasks against data, and makes it really easy to analyze large data sets while bringing kind of these same benefits of open collaboration on data sets stored in IPFS and Filecoin to generic compute tasks. And that's like a really big concept and really awesome. So the too long didn't read is that Bacalhau is a distributed off-chain computation network. Insert the run all the things emoji here. Anyway, if you do want to see more about what the impact might be, I recommend this talk by Juan from last year as well. Some of the use cases or applications, Bacalhau is kind of a really valuable tool for secure, fast job processing on large-scale data at the edge, and it makes it really cheap as well. So it takes the power of compute to where the data lives. So some of the most exciting potential applications for Bacalhau are for DeSci, as well as, as potential for distributed machine learning and decentralized AI, IoT, secure enclaves, fraud detection, and many, many more that I can't even begin to imagine as well. So if you want to dig further, though, into the DeSci and decentralized AI vision, I really recommend this recent podcast chat with Wes Floyd, who's amazing and has done a bunch of great work in this field.
Elon Musk did
Talking about Elon Musk there, controversial. Anyway, so Bacalhau in practice, let's dig into how we'd actually build on it. So this example of how you can both make an open, this example is found in our docs. So it's how you can make both an open source text to image script in Python and then run it on Bacalhau GPU, on a Bacalhau GPU enabled node with just a few lines of code. So this is found in our docs, and I've also got a video out on it if you want to dig even deeper. So just for those of you that may not know, Stable Diffusion is just a machine learning model which is used for creating images from a text prompt. So it's like the model behind Midjourney or DALL-E. So let's see how we could get started with this. So there's really only 3 steps involved in this process. So firstly, you would write your script. So any script in any compatible Docker or WASM language is allowable here. So a lot of scope there. So in this particular example, there's a Python script which uses an open source TensorFlow implementation of Stable Diffusion, and which has some pre-calculated weights. And it uses these to generate the images from a given text prompt and then displays the image. Like in practice, you'd want to return that image, not just display it. So this is a basic version. Then to use this script on Bacalhau, you really just have to Dockerize it. And finally, install the Bacalhau CLI in just what, if you're going to use Bacalhau, you got to install it, but it's just one line of command line code, I swear, super simple. So you can then run this Dockerized script anywhere using the Bacalhau CLI, as you can see here. So this will send the job to the Bacalhau public node network, which is currently all free to use for computation. So this particular script is already Dockerized, so you can try it out for yourself without any of the effort of actually making it as well. So go ahead and, try some Stable Diffusion images using this script in your command line if you like. The output of this, once the job is run, is that the results are returned to a folder. One of the cool things about Bacalhau is that it's able to save these results directly to IPFS and Filecoin via estuary. So you can also define different outputs for your configuration, but you can get back this IPFS CID because these jobs are saved to estuary. So cool, we have a verifiable computation network and we have some idea of how to use it now. But how does this interact with FVM if I wanted to build on the FVM? Well, in terms of the Filecoin and FVM network, as I kind of mentioned in the Filecoin vision a little earlier, storage is really just the start. So architecturally, we can think of the storage layer of Filecoin as this like layer 0. And then this ability to perform on-chain computation or computation over state, which comes from FVM, brings these layer 1 capabilities to the Filecoin stack. So Bacalhau is then bringing this additional capability for off-chain verifiable compute loads on large data to the network. So in order to bring the power of this compute directly to your smart contracts, though, we kind of developed this prototype for relaying Bacalhau jobs directly from your FVM smart contracts. So this early prototype is called Lilypad, and it acts as an initial connector for these technologies. So Lilypad operates as this bridge for calling Bacalhau off-chain compute jobs from your smart contracts. And for the devs here, it's also already deployed to the FVM calibration testnet and to the FVM mainnet. And you can check out the GitHub repo for more details on how to use it there. The architecture is fairly straightforward. At the base layer, Lilypad acts as a bridge, as I mentioned, for calling any of the Bacalhau jobs that you want and receiving those results directly from a Solidity smart contract. So a user contract would implement the Lilypad caller interface, and to call a job, they then they make a function call to the deployed Lilypad events contract with the Docker spec that they want to use. So this contract then emits an event which the Lilypad bridge daemon listens for, and it forwards this onto the Bacalhau network for processing. So once the job's complete, the results are then returned back to the originating user contract from the bridge code. So taking a look at this in practice, we have an example in the GitHub, which is the same Stable Diffusion example as we saw earlier. But we are running this from the Lilypad bridge, so calling it directly from a smart contract. So I'm just going to show you an example of how this would work. So you would implement it in this smart contract. Like I said, we've already got an example on the GitHub that you can follow. There has been a few recent changes, but basically you would call this Stable Diffusion job. And this is just in this video, you can see this being called, and you just saw the Bacalhau logs accepting and running the job sent. So when the image results are returned in an IPFS CID, we can take a look at those images. And here's a Rainbow Unicorn that we saw just there. And so you can then use this kind of Lilypad bridge as the basis for all sorts of functionality on FVM. including this kind of early concept app, which was an AI art generated NFT app on FVM, which is also a video on ETH Global if you want to check out the full details of that. Or you can find the full tutorial on my blog at developerally.com as well if you want to dig into that. So we're really hoping this like Lilypad bridge, or this V0 of Lilypad, is an early prototype that can help like open up a lot of potential opportunities for things that maybe need to be built in the FVM and Filecoin ecosystem. So things like native Filecoin and IPFS data applications, maybe some Filecoin native Oracle-like services, and also kind of excitingly to me, those decentralized AI and ML applications. And I think it could be a really good tool to try out for this hackathon because it's fairly simple to use as well. So in the future, we're really hoping to evolve this Lilypad V0 concept into a more robust and trustless platform for decentralized compute jobs. And this includes ongoing work into the game theory of distributed computing and working with early adopters as well to identify their main use cases for the platform. So if this is you, or if this is something that you're like, yes, this is the future, this is something I want to be involved in, definitely get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Or, build out a project in the hackathon that, really blows our minds. So we'd love to see that as well. So just as an example of what's possible when you can combine the features of blockchain with a decentralized off-chain compute network, I wanted to show you Waterlily.ai. So this is based on the Lilypad tech. So underlying this application, we are using both Bacalhau and Lilypad on a private network, but still, and there's a full blog on this as well. You can go and have a look at that at developerally.com as well. Anyway, what is it? Waterlily is like kind of this first of a kind user-facing app, and we aimed to provide a more equitable paradigm for generative AI art platforms. So when I built like kind of my AI art NFT example, utilizing, Bacalhau and FVM, I was a bit like, oh, is this a good thing? Should we really be, marketizing, I don't know, like making money out of things that, we didn't even really create? I don't know. Something about it didn't really sit right for me. So one of the main concepts here was to provide this generative AI art platform that addressed some of these issues and kind of gave royalties back to original artwork creators, which is like a really cool thing that you can do with blockchain networks. So this was the main concept, giving control back to creators and adding this potential new revenue stream for them to opt into and explore, while still giving a user an easy way to create these generative AI art and even NFTs that, are kind of more ethical than the original versions, perhaps. So as a user, you can navigate to Waterlily, you enter a text prompt for an image you'd like to generate. You can then like kind of browse through a selection of both private artists and public domain artists, and you can choose a style that you'd like to generate your image in. So you can see down the bottom there's kind of some generated images that have a text prompt, and, a famous artist that you've probably heard of, Salvador Dali, Wassily Kandinsky, Claude Monet. And what we've done is really fine-tune this artist model based on some input art using Dream Booth. And by the way, there's there's kind of in the docs, in the Bacalhau docs, you can find out how to do that for yourself as well, if that's something you're interested in. And we fine-tuned this model to this particular artist. And then each time a user chooses this artist, the artist is paid a certain amount of money for the images that are generated. So for private artists, they are paid directly to their wallet. For some of the public artists, we are donating those funds to art foundations, one of which is Grey Area, which is an amazing art community and foundation based in San Francisco. Anyway, the point of this is I just wanted to show you what maybe is possible with kind of some of this underlying technology. I'll move on and give you some more awesome hackathon ideas on what to build, because it doesn't have to directly be FVM and Bacalhau. You can build anything you like with the Bacalhau tech without interacting directly with a smart contract. That's just one way to do it. So some more ideas for Bacalhau and Lurk, by the way, which is the ZK Snark language. and Lilypad. So you can combine the power of compute with data DAOs. That's something I'm really interested in seeing. I think data DAOs are a really powerful tool in the Filecoin ecosystem and really unique to our ecosystem too. So I'd love to see them getting built out even further with like kind of this Bacalhau compute power. Then there's also using these trustless features of blockchain combined with Bacalhau compute and or lurk to solve unique challenges emerging in the AI space, kind of similar to what we did with Waterlily, but, I'm sure there is like many, many more ideas for which way you could go with that or different industries you could do that with as well, as some of these people mention in these tweets. There's other example ideas we've come up with as well, decentralized research framework, there's fraud detection systems, or, something that's kind of been really interesting to me, could we use kind of AI compute to analyze Solidity contracts for, security vulnerabilities? That could be something that might be of interest to you as well. Decentralized data aggregation, potentially decentralized gaming. Now, I think for the decentralized gaming use case, what will be really cool in the future is IPC, which I think IPC crew did a lecture here at ETH Global. So IPC is kind of this subnet interplanetary connection, consensus, sorry, not connection, but it could be a connection, interplanetary consensus layer for Filecoin, and it's going to work at whatever speed you like because it's got a bunch of subnets under Filecoin. So basically a Filecoin layer 2 is an easy way to talk about that, but it can provide really fast transaction speeds, which, would be great for decentralized gaming. But in the meantime, there's still plenty of applications you could do there. And just off on a tangent. Anyway, decentralized data analysis, obviously, with Bacalhau and FVM for data analysis and insights generation. Decentralized asset management, it could be cool to leverage Bacalhau and FVM with some of the stuff that's happening in the DeFi ecosystem on Filecoin. There's a decentralized lending platform or, even analytics for lending platforms, which is, kind of a super important part of the Filecoin market ecosystem and data ecosystem. So doing something like that could be really cool. There's decentralized insurance marketplaces and so many more ideas. In fact, if you do want even more inspiration, we've recently just held a Compute Over Data Summit in Boston, and there is a bunch of talks from so many smart people. I was just sitting in the room going, oh my God, hopefully I get smarter from all these talks. So I recommend checking out the channel and seeing what's going on in this space, because honestly, there's some real stars and some really cool projects happening here. And not just from Bacalhau, but plenty of people across the ecosystem as well. Even more examples, obviously go and check out the docs. That could be like the spark that you need to get started. And otherwise, I am pretty much going to leave it there. I think I'm just on time, which is awesome because I didn't time that. So get in touch with us, be involved, join us on our Slack. We've got our own Slack there, bit.ly/Bacalhau Project Slack. Or, follow our Twitters, or just get in touch with me on the Global Discord, and I'll be happy to chat with you. If you do have questions, I think Rory's just put in the chat there, please feel free to drop them here and I'll be happy to answer them as well. Oh yeah, I just wanted to show you, we've got some awesome chats happening on ethical AI discussions in the Bacalhau channel, which I've really been following as well. There's some really great people in there talking about some really interesting subject matter as well. So come and have a look at that, or if you're interested, just, come and join in or lurk. All right. Otherwise, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, Ally. Yeah, if there are no more questions, thanks for the great presentation. And thank you, everybody, for attending. And we'll see y'all tomorrow for more workshops. So cheers. Thank you.
Happy building. Bye.
Bye.